Hey, today we're going to talk about the Renegade office and how it's different. And yes, I'm standing outside because this is part of the whole Renegade office. We'll talk about that and more on today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, good morning, Tom.
Well done. Good morning. How are you, Bob?
I'm good. I'm outside. I like it when I'm standing and I'm outside. This is much more enjoyable for me.
Wait till all the people walk by and think that you're like a news reporter.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Excellent.
I need to get one of those microphones.
You do need a microphone. That would be good, and a camera person, not probably your phone pitched at the top of your car.
That's exactly what it looks like.
All right. Anyways, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast, where we have a conversation each week about a topic. As Bob mentioned, our topic this week is the Renegade office. It's funny, you got somebody slowly coming behind you, slowing down. And
that's exactly right.
So as we go through our conversation, if you have thoughts you'd like to share around this, please feel free to share them in the comments, as we know that it will have an impact not only on our show, it will also help others who may be looking exactly for that idea. So if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or
LinkedIn
Live, we welcome those comments and thoughts. And at the end of the show, Bob and I each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. And we welcome you to share yours as well, because we know that someone out there might be looking for exactly what you have to share. If you're listening to the podcast and you're really uncertain of what's going on, Bob is outside. And so there are always cars and people and things going by. So it makes for an interesting background. You may have to go to social media to check it out, just so that you can see Bob's office for the day.
Wait till the light rail goes by.
Yes, wait until the light rail goes by. That will make it interesting. All right, so each morning we start with our celebrations before we dive into our topic. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
Well, can I just preface it by explaining why we do the celebrations? Celebrations put us in the right mindset. They help us see what we've already done, the steps we've taken. So the celebration I have today is for my clients. I've had 2 clients in the last 2 weeks actually offer me some really good advice, like the kind of advice I give them. In fact, one client said to me, I'm literally saying back to you all the stuff you say to me. And it was really touching and really sweet and really just amazing that they took the time to care about me and what I was trying to do. And so I celebrate that. Nice. How about you?
So today I'm going to celebrate the impact and the value that animals have on our lives. So we have had 2 dogs. Both dogs are probably about 15 years old. One still seems as spry as can be. The other has been slowing down quite a bit. And they're small dogs. So when I say he's slow, he's slow. And unfortunately, he's not doing well. And so this morning, we are going to go and have to put him to sleep, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And he has brought significant joy to our life. Someone else had him with 2 other big dogs, and they kind of attacked him. And he needed to get out of that situation. So he came to us kind of blind in one eye. We weren't really very sure about his hearing. And he's a long-haired dachshund, so he doesn't move very quickly anyway. And he has clearly brought joy into our lives. And there is no doubt that his last 5 years we've added value to his. So that's my celebration for today.
He's also been on the program, right? A number of times? Usually yes. At 8:30?
Yes.
If you've listened for a long time, this is the dog that's barked every day around 8:30 because your wife Liz leaves for work.
Correct.
Yep. Okay.
Yes, that is him.
It won't be the same without the dog barking at 8:30.
It definitely will not be the same. And our lives are better because of it. So, all right. So let's dive into our topic now.
You have to do one
unless
of those
you had something.
weird, no, you have to do one of those weird Al Roker switches. From something sad to something happy, where they're like, "Oh," and turning to a lighter subject.
So, did you have a lighter subject you wanted to share with our renegades?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. So now let's dive into the Renegade office. And today we'll talk a little bit about how it's different. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about what it was and probably gave some insight into how we think it might be different. So we thought that it would be good to share a little bit more detail about how it is different. You want to kickstart it for us?
Sure, I will kickstart it for us. I like that phrase. First of all, we all know what the regular office is like. You have a leader, the leader tells you what to do, you do what the leader says, and then you either get patted on the back and get your 2% raise, or you get told you didn't do it and you move forward. And that is America at work for years, decades. And that model was really built around the Industrial Revolution and the office of the 50s or 60s. And here we are 60, 70 years later, and the office of America hasn't really changed that much. It's fair. I was just watching what was going on behind me. It's fairly common, fairly similar. And I think the Renegade office is the answer to a lot of the issues because we're not all working in the same location. I can do this broadcast from a mall outside of Baltimore. I can do this from a park. I can do this from a boat. I could do this from probably an airplane if I really tried hard enough. And that flexibility, that freedom enables us to be more engaged in other aspects of our life while also working. It also makes it a little more difficult in some ways for a leader because they've got to deal with a lot more moving parts. People are more focused on other aspects of their life. And I'm dealing right now with an employee in one situation who's in Peru. And managing a person in Peru is different than managing a person in the chair next to you. The person in Peru is brilliant, but there's always this feeling of like, are they really working right now? Are they working on the right stuff? And you never know. And so that Renegade office is an office that accepts those challenges and deals with them on a case-by-case basis. It's also an office that isn't so centered on the boss tells people what to do, but is more team-oriented. The team tries to achieve results. What do you think about all that, Tom?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really good things in there. And it just reminded me that last week we talked about the Renegade leader. And I think that if you're starting to buy into some of this conversation that we're having, it would be great to go back and listen to last week's conversations around the Renegade leader. I think it will enhance this. I think you're right.
Episodes 590 to 595, I think.
I think you're absolute.
No, 549 to 554. Yeah. No?
No, maybe 589 to 594.
All right.
Good try. That's all right. I think that, as I think about the Renegade office, I think that in the past, the office was defined by a space in a building, and I use that reference about the TV show, The Office. And there is no doubt that when they talked about the office, it was about the space.
It's CBS This Morning. Yeah, really? Yeah. Okay.
Now back to our regular program.
He wanted to know what it was.
Yeah, fair enough. You should just tell him what it is. It's your podcast. Today's Antidote. He can watch it. Social media. Anyhow.
You just want to make me yell LinkedIn Live again.
I do. Especially outside. So I think that, where it came, the office was a space. And I went to the office. And it's interesting. I think even now, people feel like it's still a space working from home. It's like, okay, I've set up my office in a spare bedroom, in the basement, at the kitchen table or the dining room table. And I think now the office and the Renegade office is more about where how work gets done. And it's not about where it gets done. It's how it gets done. It's amazing to me. There are many people who can do their work on their cell phone, and that's their office. Their office is actually wherever they want to be, and they work whenever they want to work. And I think that while that isn't effective for everyone, there are many opportunities where people could do that, where literally they could run their business or do their job from their cell phone wherever they want to be. You walk into, it's always interesting to me to walk into Starbucks or Panera Bread and see all these people on their laptop. And I think, or, cyber cafes or whatever, every restaurant that now has Wi-Fi, which who would have thought Wi-Fi would have been so important in a restaurant? And how many of those people are working, or are they just, on social media or checking their email or whatever? And I think that that's the difference about the Renegade office, is it could literally be anywhere at any time. And those constraints of 9 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30, or 8:30 to 5 with a half an hour lunch break, those are different. As you mentioned, that's from a different time. While there are still many organizations who operate that way, and some who have to, I think the Renegade office has value, although it is a lot of value. Although for some, it's different. If you run a storefront, someone has to be there. And so you actually need a physical location. Although, as we know, many storefronts now are run from Amazon or from some other online thing where everything, again, can be done on your phone. So I think it's just the idea that it's not just a building. It's how we do or where we do work.
I like that. I was thinking there are some types of businesses that just don't allow for the Renegade office too much, like law office, accounting, doctor's offices, dentists. But even then, you see more and more the telemedicine. I met with a lawyer over Zoom a couple of times. And so even those things that you would think couldn't switch over, couldn't change, are changing a lot in this world. And I think the pandemic really forced a lot of this on us in a positive way. I think the book to be written down the road is that the pandemic really changed the office after it was kind of in just a static feeling. Like we really cling to what the 1940s, 1950s office looks like. If you watch a TV show or a movie from 1950, that model of an office that they describe is very similar to the office of today. Like the TV show Mad Men. Not as much alcohol in the afternoon as probably in the 1950s, but depending on where you are. But that model of the office with the secretaries and with the office just culture really is what we cling to because it's comfortable. And I think as we look at that Renegade office, it's throwing a lot of that out the window and saying, hey, what works for what we're trying to do now? Do people physically need to be at a location? And it could be a huge savings. I worked at a job, 15 years ago where we left our office, saved about $8,000 a month, and everyone worked from home. And it was better. We got more done in less time and saved money along the way. It was a really good decision. It was a difficult shift, though.
Sure.
And, that Renegade office to accept that kind of cultural shift, to trust your employees to be doing their work, to trust your employees to collaborate in different ways, to create community and teamwork by having, the happy hour on Thursday night where everyone shows their favorite drink on Zoom, or Friday, having crazy shirt day, to build that camaraderie that helps the team work. Those are some of the things that I think Renegade offices have to really work at to make the whole situation work in a way that people can be most productive.
And I think there's still value, and I would offer that just because you have a space doesn't mean you don't have and you want people in that space. There's still the opportunity to have a Renegade office. You just have to figure out how you manage it, how it looks. And I think it is that you have truly looked at all the options and made a decision that this is what works most effectively for you and your employees. And for some, that may be
the customers
and your customers, but it may be that we need to be in a space and we need to have a physical space that we gather. And that is okay. because you have chosen that intentionally. It's not just, oh, well, I'm going to start a business. So that means I have to have a building so that people can go there and visit. And it's interesting to me, you look at all, and I think insurance agents are notorious for how many like houses do you see that have been renovated and shifted into a building that has a sign out there of an insurance agent.
Yep.
And I think that there is a place for that. And if that's the way you feel that you are going to work most effectively, great. And I think there is also many insurance agents who have no space. They just work from their computer, work from their home. They go out and see clients and customers. And I think that it's all about what works for you so that you can be as effective as possible and your team or your organization can be as effective as possible.
I like that. So Tom, what's your one thing today?
My one thing is that I think how it's different is that it's not the requirement of the same old, is that it is an intentional choice, not just because that's what we've always done, because it's what is most effective and beneficial for how to get the most out of your employees and your team so that you can serve your clients, customers in the most effective way.
I like that. I was going to add that really when you talk about being different than the traditional office, accepting that and inviting the opportunities that creates. Sometimes it actually works better when you go to the Renegade office. I know you don't like the word better, but differently, and it can be advantageous. People might, there might be ways to engage people differently. There might be ways to have staffing differently because you're not clinging to that 9 to 5. I know a company that operates from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. now because their employees wanted more flexibility. One of the employees wanted to homeschool their children during the day and preferred to work at night. So they were able to extend that night hours. And that wouldn't have been possible if she had to be in the office. And she told the company that had they not made that shift for her, she would have left the company. And I think that's another part of this whole Renegade office and being different. This might be a way to engage an employee who might otherwise be looking for another opportunity. And in this day and age, I can tell you, hold on to the people that do really, really great work. Find ways to make it work for them because it's a whole lot easier than finding someone else and training them.
Yes. I think that's probably one of the, that may be to my mind, one of the most valuable points is that, how do you create an atmosphere where you're able to acquire and retain the best talent and not just those who are available based on who lives in an area to be able to travel to your office.
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
Awesome.
It really does open that pool.
Great. Well, if you have anyone else out there has something they'd like to share about the Renegade office or what they think about this whole concept, please feel free to put it in the comments, because we know that this is what's real for us and what's real for you may be different. And I think when we share what's real for us, we have a chance to impact others. So we look forward to your thoughts and comments. And if you'd like to talk more about this, you can join us inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group where we'll be talking about it all week. It's easy to do. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then ask to become a part of our community where we are trying to help people take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. And I would offer, if you are someone who is trying to transition your office from something that has stopped being effective because it's what you've always done and are looking to find ways to make it more effective and empower your employees, you might want to consider our Renegade Success Network, where we can help you work through some of those challenges, some of those thoughts, some of those ideas, and really discover what is your next step along your own unique pathway to creating the Renegade office of your dreams. Just feel free to send us a message, or you can go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com and get more information about how that might be able to change dramatically the way that you do work and what your office looks like. Anything you'd like to share, Bob, before we head out?
No, I thought you did a great job. I do think there's an opportunity for us to help people figure this out. It can be daunting to look at this type of change, but it can also be incredibly illuminating, and it can be a really great way to motivate employees and make them more productive.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of our show. We look forward to seeing you inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegade in you. And think about how that office might be a little different. Be a renegade today.
Absolutely. I like that. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.